Not very. Hi, hi. Good evening. Sorry for the lateness. You're probably waiting quite a while. Okay.
Hello, Rabbi.
Hi. Good evening.
How are you?
Okay. Thank God. Thank you. Late as usual. As usual.
It's okay.
Okay. What else is new? Okay. All right. So we'll get started. We're continuing the Bet Yosef. Yeah, I can see you're suffering with that. It's like it's a major struggle. It really is, It's huge. It's huge. I have to, it's a daily struggle, it's day by day. It's not a miracle, you know what I mean? It's like it's just you have to work every day to do the best you can with that. Yeah. So okay, so there's a bit Yosef like this. I think we're in there. Hare behedya. You see anything like that? Did you put like a mark on it or something?
We're in Zion, right?
Yeah, when Bet Yosef is Zion, like in the like almost at the end of this Bet Yosef. Hare behedya. You want to help you? Okay. Very good. Have a seat, relax. Have a seat. It may take time, man, because I'm not using this kind of book, so I need to see what I'm doing here. Oh, yeah, okay. Let's see if I can get something more recognizable.
Keep up anyway.
I
With the speed of the Hebrew.
see. Okay, we'll try to go slower.
I just feel out of your translation.
Right. I'm just trying to see like what the general area is here. Okay, yeah, I'm getting there. Almost there. Second. Yeah, we can start from here. See, right here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, sorry for the delay. Let's go on. So it says, "V'adoni avia rosh sal." You see that? Lo haya mevarech af legdolim. It says the Rosh wouldn't even bless for defecation. Rak asher yatsa, only asher yatsa. Av kishaya rotzel lilmod, even if he wanted to learn Torah. Im lo oset tzrachav, unless he was actually going to the bathroom using, right? And v'haya mitpalel acharav miyad, and he was praying afterwards, right away. That's what we said. So he says, "Kachem devarav b'psakim." So these are the words of the Rosh in the Psakim. Bepek Aroeh, in the Pek Aroeh, brachot. This word is brachot siman chav gimel. This is the language of the Rosh. Ki mashi yadeh. So it says when he washes his hands, omer al netilat yadayim. He says netilat yadayim. Lefish yadav shel adam askaniot. Why? Because the person gropes around at night with his hands. Askaniotam. Be'ef shar shelo liga b'davar amtunaf. So it says it's not possible that he shouldn't touch something which is dirty. At night, therefore they made a blessing. Before he reads Kriyat Shema and prays. So he says from here there is to learn the uadin b'tfilat mincha. So it says the same applies to tfilat mincha with tfilat arvit and also arvit. So what does that mean? If he went to the bathroom and he washed his hands, therefore, according to the Rosh, he's praying right away. So he's going to also bless Netilat Yadayim, right? That's what we said. We said this before. But if he's just going to the bathroom without prayers, just regularly, and he doesn't need to bless. Only Asher Yatzar. The only cannot. Why? Because brachat al Netilat Yadayim. Because the blessing of Netilat Yadayim was only decreed. Kim the seudah with tefillah, two things, for seudah, for meals, and for tefillah, and for prayers. Kach kihach dehacha, like this case here. This is the language of the Rosh. Ad kan neshano. V'chen katuv b'tshuvat, also in the tshuva, in the response to the Rosh. Shkatav Rabbeinu b'shmo. The Rabbeinu wrote in his name. V'hi bichlal daled. So he says that this is in the Daled, in the fourth parak. This is the language of the Rosh. You should only bless Netilat Yadayim ela b'makom shetiknua chachamim, place where the rabbis decreed that. Kegon hanotel yadav le'echol. For instance, if he washes his hands to eat, v'gam tiknua baboker, they also decreed in the morning. Keshekam mitato, when he gets up from his bed, v'yadav metunafot, and his hands are dirty. Shemimashmashot b'makom atinofet. And because they're touching the places which are dirty, he has to pray. He has to bless. He has to wash his hands. It says in Tehillim, right? I'm going to clean my hands, right? But and they made a blessing for this. Same thing also applies if he did tzrachav, if he went to the bathroom and he wiped himself, or he urinated, touched himself. He wants to play. He wants to pray. He told Yadav vivarech al netilat yadayim. So what he does is he washes his hands and blesses Netilat Yadayim. But kol hayom k'sheo setz rachav. But every day when he's using the bathroom just in a regular way, all throughout the day, or matil maim, or urinates, even if he wants to learn right away, whatever, he doesn't bless Netilat Yadayim. Only Asher Yatsa. Katav Od Sham. He writes furthermore there. If he's washing his hands, when he wants to pray. But if he didn't use the bathroom though, you don't need to bless Netilat Yadayim. Because they only decree this in the morning. When his hands are dirty. Tinofet, right? So shemishmeshu, right? Because they touched the place of dirty. And he therefore he went to the bathroom. Ad kan neshano, not therefore, because and also when he went to the bathroom. That's the end of the language of the Rosh. So it says we already wrote in chapter 4, Siman Daled, this is what it means to say that they only decree this in the morning. So there in the morning, even if he didn't use the bathroom, right, according to this opinion, the Tama, why is that? because his hands are dirty there. Because they touched the dirty place. And they also decreed this the rest of the day, but only when if he used the bathroom, if he wants to pray right away. Says Rabbi Avuhav, according to Rosh, that which he wrote in this parak, the Birkat Natilat Yadayim b'Shachrit, when it comes to Natilat Yadayim in the morning, because it's assumed that we touched a dirty place there in his hands. So he says, according to that, if he wants to pray, some kind of a prayer, should be during the day. If he touched his body as well, should be gufo on his the dirty place in his body. The older have to also watch at that point, right? According to this logic, because it's the same thing as shachrit. And he went to the bathroom. The nakat rosh that the rosh mentioned, he went to the bathroom. Lav dafka, he says not exactly, not precisely. The huadin lenagah bevasar bentunav. Also the same thing when he touches a dirty place. But if his hands were dirty, but teeth, just with the mud, things like this, right? Not sweat. So there, the rosh doesn't seem to obligate you to make an natilat yadayim. In other words, to bless natilat yadayim. They're not domen natilat shachrit because it's not the same thing as the morning. But he says if he touched the excrement, then for sure he does have to bless because that's the similar to the morning. Even though he didn't touch his body really, but it's something which comes from the body, right? Excrement. This is the language of the Maria Avuhav. According to this, if you touch dirty place in your body, or excrement from the body, we'll have to bless Natilat Yadayim. If he wants to pray right away. According to the Samach, Siman Kuf Pe Aleph, Katuv, it says over there, if his hands were dirty, betit, with the mud, or excrement, and it doesn't agree with what we just said, right? So there's a machloket here between the Samak and what we just mentioned here, which was the Maria Avuhav. So it says, but he says, my rabbis were blessing actually in this case. If you want to learn Torah. So it says, we're not sure what the halacha is. So it says, Besamag, regarding the Samag, the Birkat Asher Yatzar, because when it comes to blessing of Asher Yatzar, Shemavech Ektanim, that he does for your nation, Haveh Davar Shebekdusha. It's considered to be something which is holiness, as we said, right? This blessing has holiness in it. In other words, it has Torah in there. And nevertheless, he doesn't bless on Natilat Yadayim. He doesn't bless Natilat Yadayim. Also, if he has dirty hands with teeth with mud, it's our excrement. So this is different than what we just said before. Now the tshuva of the Ramban. Siman Kuf Sadik Gimel. Mekubal ani mimori harav. So it says, I have a tradition from my rabbi. Zal she'enu mevarchin on Natilat Yadayim. We only bless Natilat Yadayim. Ela b'shachar, only in the morning, b'shat achila, or when you eat. V'chen anu nohagim, says this is our custom, right? Just like us, right? Mm-hmm. Now we're getting back to normal, right? Getting back to reality. Okay, yesh anu nohagim, af al pi mori. So it says according to my Rabbi, b'nirin devar kanashono, right? So what Rabbi are we talking about here? This is the Rashba quoting his Rabbi, who was the Ramban. I mean, yeah, the Rashba was the Talmid of the Ramban. Ramban, right? Right. So yeah. So that's the one. So that's what he says, right? So this is more like the Sephardi Shita, Okay, Spaniards. Okay, so
the custom that we follow today is according to Ramban.
Yeah, pretty much that's what we do today. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Rabbeinu Agadol Maria Avuhav. So he says Maria Avuhav. Katav Ken B'Shem Tshuvat Rashba. He also wrote Tshuvat Rashba, which is the same thing. The Gam HaAgur, also the Agur, Katav Ken B'Shem Rashba. So that's everybody quotes this from the Rashba. But this is the Shita of the Rashba, which comes from the Ramban, as we said, right? Mashma Medivrei Ota Teshuvah. It's mashma from this Tshuva. The Gam Tshuva Shacharei. Also another Tshuva afterwards. Shafiru Imrot said Itpalel Miyad. Even if he wants to pray right away. tfilat mincha, like mincha or avit, achar asiyat tzrachav, after he uses the bathroom, eno mevarech al natilat yadayim. We don't bless natilat yadayim, right? In the afternoon and the evening. The dafka b'shachar tiknu levarech, because only in the morning they made this bracha. As we said, right? According to Rashba, you're like a new creation. The whole boker, every morning. Masha enken, not so, b'shat tefilot, not when it comes to other tefilot. The Odit Ba'er B'Siman Tzadik Bet, this is also going to explain over there in this chapter 92. B'Siyat Dishmai, we'll explain more about that. Katav Rabbeinu Agadol Mari Abuhav, right? Sheken Katav Gamken Rabbeinu Tam. Also, Rabbeinu Tam seems to hold like this. He says, She'en Devarech Al Natilat Yadayim Ela B'Boker. Only in the morning we bless Natilat Yadayim.
Hey, if I'm not mistaken, Rashba also did not follow the Teres for before.
Okay. So the truth is, right, that it seems like he holds like there is ruach ra, there is such a thing like that. But in other words, that's not the reason he's bringing for washing the hands, basically, you know.
Your creation.
Yeah, this is his, shita, pretty much, you know, the line of thinking. Yeah.
And he's a student of Rabbi.
Yes, absolutely.
Is that and he's following from saying from the reason as Rabban?
Yeah, that's what it seems to be. But I mean, the truth is, you know, that the main writings that we have regarding this are not from the Ramban; they're from the Rashba. You know what I mean? But he's saying it also comes from his Rebbe. You know, he's quoting his Rebbe. You know what I mean? Yeah. So okay, good. So it seems like also for Rabbeinu Tam, he says, "Ela b'boker, aval kol hayom kulo." But throughout the day, afilu k'sheyotze litpalel, even if he wants to pray, en alav levarecha, you don't bless natilat yadayim. Afilu sheyu hayadam menuchlachot, even if your hands are dirty. Ad kaneshano, right? Okay, so that seems to be the conclusion, right, in this halachic discourse. So this is the minhag of the world, right? That's what everybody does. Even the Ashkenazim, by the way, that's what they do. Of course, yeah. They only bless natilat yadayim ela b'shachar, in the morning, b'shat achila, or also when you eat, right? Bilvad. Only those two things. But when it comes to the rest of the day, even if you did excrement or tzkarim or you urinated, or shifshef and you touch himself, even if he wants to pray right away, so therefore, right, the bottom line, halacha is not like the Rosh. That's it. Okay? The custom is to do even for urination. Even if he didn't touch himself. Like the poskim, the shekatati there, like we wrote above. Right? He says, let's say he doesn't know if his hands are dirty. He's not really sure, right? Doesn't know. But the problem is he didn't pay attention. In other words, he wasn't particular with his hands, you know? He lost track. You know, so what happens there? He says, we're going to explain that in 92, chapter 92. If you have to wash your hands in a case like that. The shot field for other prayers, Shabbayom Olav, right? And by the way, the custom is that halacha is that we do. You know, we wash for every prayer. You don't need a cup, you don't need to bless, but you should wash your hands before every prayer. This is the halacha.
You said by Kabbalah, so
not really. I don't know. I don't think there's any Kabbalah like that. It's only the Kabbalah is only talking about ruach ra. There's no ruach ra in the afternoon. You know what I mean? So yeah. So, but there, right? The reason is because of the bathroom. That's something else, right? That's a different issue.
I always see people before going for mincha washing the cup.
Yeah, I mean, you know, some have a custom to do it that way, right? Bitul Torah. It's a big Bitul Torah for those people who never learn anyway. So
there's no even the Zohar doesn't speak of it. It's something to do.
No, yeah, but the truth is, you know, the bathroom is a separate issue. You know, we're not really discussing that right now here. You know what I mean? Yeah.
For prayer.
So before prayer, you don't need a cup because there's no ruach ra. You know, so you're not going to the Kabbalah. You know what I mean? That's interesting. So right, okay, very good. So the truth is, you know, that there are also many who argue with the Ben Ish Chai. You know, in other words, even if there is a ruach ra in the bathroom, you still don't need a cup. And the reason is because it's not the same type of ruach ra; it's a different kind.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not a high level like there is in the morning, right? So yeah, I mean, you know, that makes sense, by the way. So the truth is, halacha is not like the Ben Ish Chai. Even according to the Kabbalah, you know, you could say maybe not. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? it's a different approach, whatever. Okay, whatever. Especially with our bathrooms, as we said, which that are more clean. What I mean? We can rely on that leniency. We don't have those outhouses, those disasters that we used to have in the old days, right? Okay, yeah, those were disasters. Okay, so that's okay. So we're gonna do now Shulchan Aruch, right? Going to the other side. We're doing Shulchan Aruch Bet. Okay. Okay. Zion Bet. Okay. You got where it is?
I think so.
Hitil, right? Yeah, exactly. So it says Hitil Mayim Below Shifshet. Let's say you urinated. Okay, we're not talking about a bathroom even, right? And he didn't touch his hands, right? I'm sorry, he didn't touch his body. You do have to bless Asher Yatzar and Tzarich Litol Yadav, but you don't even have to wash your hands, as you said, right? There's no reason. You weren't in the bathroom, you didn't touch yourself, so there's no reason to wash your hands. Right? Ela mishum nekiyut, but he says you have to do it for nekiyut, for cleanliness, or mishum hikon, right? Or preparing yourself to for Hashem, right? So in other words, you still have to do it for this reason. That's what he's saying. Yeah. That's what we saw in the Bet Yosef, right? That he brought this reason in the end, to prepare yourself to meet your creator, whatever, right? Hikon, that which is in the prophet Amos in the Perek Dalet over there. That's where it comes from.
Like just in case.
I have a question.
Yes.
So let's say you go to the bathroom, you don't touch yourself, but you still have to do a prayer because of the nikut. Is that what you're saying?
So we're talking about several things, right? Here we're talking about a case where he didn't go to the bathroom; he just went, outside somewhere, right, and urinated, right? So even for that, you have to wash your hands. Why? Because of just cleanliness, being ready to bless the blessing. So yeah, it's just it's a proper conduct, that's what it is basically. There's no ruach ra over here, or there's no dirt on your hands. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of hygiene, basically, right? Like good hygiene, good manners. But regarding the blessing, you always have to bless. If you used, if you urinated or whatever, you always have to bless. Asher Yatzar, right? That blessing, right? Not Natilat Yadayim. You don't bless Natilat Yadayim. Okay, so that's that. So in other words, basically, right, we're saying that you should wash your hands. No matter what, basically. All the more so if you were in the bathroom, right? All the more so. Then you have the issue of the ruach ra. Maybe there's a ruach ra in there, whatever it is. Okay, so that's the idea, right? Okay, beautiful. But as you see, right, it doesn't say kli. You don't need a kli for this. It doesn't say. Okay, good. So that's that. Let's go to Gimel, right? Going back, yeah, we're going back to the tour, to the other side. Oh, good question. Yeah, I think we finished the tour. You're right. So we're doing Bet Yosef Gimel. You see where you left off there? Katav Rabbeinu Agadol. So it says Maria Abuhav again, right? This is Rabbi. Katuv be'Orchot Chaim. It says in Orchot Chaim. This is a Rishon. Orchot Chaim, the Talmid of the Rosh. Hashem Gaon, the name of some Gaon. Shadam Sheitil Mayim Ve'Siach Dato. Right, person who urinated, and then he kind of lost track of things. Like kind of got distracted. Right, Milatil Mayim. Oh, okay. So I'm sorry, I didn't say it right. What happened was like this. What he's saying is that he urinated, and then he kind of left off, got distracted, and okay, I see. Okay, so what happened was he urinated one time, and then he kind of stopped, and then he did it again one more time, twice. He urinated twice, basically, right? But what happened was that in the middle, between the two urinations, he kind of got distracted, whatever. Okay, that's what he's saying. Look what he says, right? You have to bless twice over here. Why? Because you urinated twice. Okay, that's the idea. You understand?
How so, Rabbi?
Yeah.
Like,
By the way, this is not the custom today,
right.
but this is the way that Maran paskins. The Achronim jump on this, and they have all kinds of questions. Blah blah blah. This, why, blah 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 blah. But the truth is that whoever does this has what to rely on, because that's the way Maran paskins. In other words, the point is like this, right? According to Maran, and this is, by the way, the name of a Gaon, one of the Gaonim. So, it's big authority. So what he's saying is basically, the bracha v'asher yatzar is for every time you do something, urination or whatever.
Doesn't cover the previous one.
Exactly, it doesn't cover the previous. So each one needs its own bracha. You know what I mean?
So if you went 10 times during the day, and you bless on the last one, and you remember you didn't bless, you gotta go.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right.
10
Exactly.
times.
It's funny, by the way. Always comes to my mind. When I hear this halacha, what if he's a Baal Tshuva? He didn't bless like 10,000 times. So he should have to go back and bless. Okay, whatever it is, right? So yeah, that would be interesting. Okay, so anyway, right, that's that. But the truth is, this is the shita according to this. This is the opinion. All the achronim argue with this. Up and down. Book, 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 book. So the truth is, because all the achronim are arguing on this, nobody does this today. It's pretty much, it's a lost art. That's the whole thing.
But you have grounds if you want to do it.
Huh?
You have some grounds.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, nobody can say nothing to you. The Chida says this, by the way. He says even sometimes where we're not, the minhag is not like Maran. You know what I mean? But if you do like Maran, nobody can say nothing to you. You know what I mean? Like, what can we say? What can we say to you? You did like the Shulchan Aruch. What? There's nothing to say. Nobody can accuse you of anything.
Why does Rabbi then sometimes say not to do like Maran because there's a chance that we're doing the bracha for nothing?
This is exactly the case, right? This is exactly the case. In other words, if you bless twice, one of them could be too much. You know what I mean? That's the whole point.
Right.
So this is why, in cases like this, sometimes we don't do like Maran. You understand? That's the whole idea.
It's best to do like Maran in those cases or not.
Well, I'll tell you something interesting that, by the way, when it comes to these kinds of questions, there's a basic consideration of halacha, what is superior? To do like the minhag of the world, like go like the flow, go with the flow, be a good boy, do like everybody else, go with the stream. There's also others, who like to go against the stream, what I mean? There are people like this, they're like rebellious type of people. You know what I mean? But you know what it is? Those people who are a little bit rebellious, you know why that is? Because they study the material, and they're like convinced, that like that's the right way, like according to what they studied. So it's kind of like it has its merit because like you studied it and that this is the right way, and you don't care about the minhag, That's all. By the way, the Gaon of Vilna, who was a very interesting character, very interesting rabbi. He was Ashkenazi, but his approach in halacha was more like a Sephardi approach. You know what I mean? In a sense. But he was famous for this, by the way. That he didn't like minhagim. Like he felt that if he felt that the minhag was erroneous, he would not do it, like no matter what. Even if it was an Ashkenazi minhag, like from hundreds of years ago, he would not do it. Like he was very against this, right? He wasn't one of those go with the stream guys. You know what I mean? There are rabbis like this. It's very legitimate, by the way, to be like that. So there are some rabbis, who would prefer minhagim. There are some rabbis who prefer logic, strength of logic.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's always that, balance, that you have to go with. The Maran, I'll tell you, Maran, he was more like a minhag person, according to his writings. You can see that he was a minhag person, especially regarding what he wrote to the public. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, what he wrote in his books. They say sometimes, by the way, the way he did personally was not like that. You know what I mean? In other words, he wrote something in a book, but in his house, he was doing something else. There are cases like this. Yes. No, not Shulchan Aruch. I'm talking about Maran Ravadia.
Oh.
Yeah. There are cases where he wrote in the book, this is the custom, but he personally did not follow the custom. So you shouldn't think, by the way, that everything you read in his books is always what he did. Not always, it's 99%, yes, but there's that 1%, sometimes the rabbi didn't even follow his own book.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you an example, okay? Like I heard in Yerushalayim, when I was in Yerushalayim, some rabbanim told me, that in the books, the rabbi writes the bracha from matzot, not on Pesach, is mezonot. You know what I mean? According to custom, according to Sephardi custom, But he himself used to make hamotzi, that's the way it was. That's the because he was convinced that hamotzi is the right way to go, But he also, respected the custom, the minhag. You know what I mean? So there's that dichotomy going on always,
I know you do one more time.
I'm also kind of like I prefer logic to minhag. This is my approach also. I'm more on that, But sometimes the truth is, I do the minhag because I agree with it. In other words, I don't see any problem with the minhag. It seems fine to me. Like whatever. But sometimes, like if you're really against it, like you researched, and you're against the minhag, like in your soul, it just doesn't sit with you. It's okay, you can go against it. In other words, as long as you have what to rely on, you have the Shulchan Aruch, whatever. There's no problem with that, That's the way it is in halakha, There's always that struggle going on.
Rabbi, sorry.
Yeah.
How did it happen to be that the Rishonim go against and
I'm sorry?
argue with Beit Yosef?
Well, the truth is, that the interesting thing is, right, that the Achronim always argued with the Shulchan Aruch. In other words, this is like a typical, typical stuff. Like it's every day, day and night. You know what I mean? The thing is that even though they argued with the Shulchan Aruch, the Achronim, we accepted the Shulchan Aruch, over the Achronim. I mean, this wasn't like, accepted. So therefore, as a general rule, they say, right, the Sephardi poskim, they always write, even if 100 Achronim are arguing on Maran, we will go like Maran. This is the rule, But if the minhag already was changed, by the rabbis, whatever, changed, that's it, that's what it came to. In this case, right, the minhag is not like that. You know what I mean? This is like an example. I'm sorry.
Accept, right?
I'm sorry?
But it changed because somebody decided not to accept.
Right. So you know what it is? Sometimes the Achronim argue with Maran, but it doesn't catch on, that minhag. You know what I mean? Sometimes it has mazal, the minhag, it catches on, That's the way it is. You know what I mean? It's a matter of, sometimes just history, like the way things go, the way things, progress. This is the way it is in halakha. You know what I mean? It's a kind of like a complex game, delicate balance, whatever, all kinds of things, right? Okay, whatever. The more you know, the more you know what to do. You know what I mean? That's the way it is. When you're a master of halakha, you know how to, go around, and do things, maneuver better, That's why it's better to be a master than to rely on somebody else. You know what I mean? Oh, okay, Rabbi, what do you say? What about you? Well, you don't have anything to say because you didn't learn. That's why if you learn, you also gonna have something to say. That's the way it is, Okay, whatever. Hashem bless. What can I do? It's all good, It's all good, Baruch Hashem. But anyway, as we said, right here, we're not noheg. We're not. The custom is not like Maran here, but this is a very strong svara. The truth is, it's very strong. In other words, you went twice to the bathroom. You got blessed twice. Well, it's very logical. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, whatever, right? So anyway, right? Right? All right. So he brings a source for this, right? For this logic here. Where is that? Brachot kafvav in the Gemara, right? Ta'ah velo yitpalel shachrit yitpalel mincha shtayim. Oh, you know what it says? What does it say about if a person didn't pray, right? Shachrit for some reason, he wasn't able to pray shachrit. You gotta do twice mincha, right? To make it up.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing here. In other words, if you didn't bless Asher Yatzar, you gotta do twice now because you went again. Okay, whatever. That's it's logical. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. Nobody does it today. What can I tell you? But if you do, God bless you. I'm not going to complain. Okay. So let's go to Shulchan Aruch, right? Gimel. So it says Hitil Mayim, right? Am I in the right place? Yeah. So it says, right, if he went to the, he urinated, right? V'siach dato miatil mayim, and then he lost track, right? He got distracted, right? And then he urinated again. So this could be like, like the 10-minute interval, right? He urinated one time. 10 minutes later, he did it again. That happens sometimes, right? It's very common. You have to do twice Asher Yatzar, right? If you look here in the Mishnah Brura, it's going to knock this out of the ballpark, right? It's not blah, 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 nobody does it this way, blah, blah, blah. This rabbi argues, that rabbi argues. Everybody's arguing on this, So that's why, Also, if you look in the Yalkut Yosef, books like this, they're all going to tell you not to do it. But the truth is, it is a Shulchan Aruch, it is what it is. The Shulchan Aruch doesn't need anybody to support, to justify. Okay, whatever it is, right? Okay, good, we got that. So let's go to Dalet.
All right, so the reason he's not saying the number 2 because it's obvious, right? If number 1 you need to do.
Oh, for sure, yeah, no question. It's the same, Regarding Asher Yatzar, there's no difference between this and that, It's all the same. Yeah.
It's just that here is not being very specific.
Yeah, of course, because he's just giving one example, which is, by the way, a very light example. So you see from there, if it's more than that, even more so you should bless, right? Yeah, if you're doing a defecation. Okay, so let's go to Bet Yosef Daled. Katab Harosh. That's how it starts. It's where we left off, when we finished. Got it? So it says Katab Bero B'Shuba, Rosh B'Shuba. The Rosh writes in response, Klal Daled over there. Shishaluhu, they asked him a question. Lefamim k'shadam holech lechol. Sometimes when a person goes to eat, or lebet knesset, or he goes to shul, ubodek atzmo umtaftef me'at im. Right? Oh, okay, so he went to the bathroom to see if he has to do something. What happened was that a few drops came out. Nothing major, A few drops came out of him. Right? So should you bless on that for a couple of drops of urine? You know what I mean? That's the question. So he answers, he says, even if it's a little bit, you still have to bless. It makes sense, by the way. You see why. Why? Because since his hole was open and something came out of there, his cavity was open. So therefore, what does it matter if it's a lot or a little? He got some relief from that, whatever it is, So that's what it's all about. It says also Maria wrote this. He wrote the name of Gaon. Oh, so he says the same thing, right? There's no measure for this, regarding how much you urinate, Even one drop is already, that's it. He says, even like one drop, even for one drop, you have to bless. That's what he's saying, right? Why? Because if that would be closed up and that drop wouldn't come out, we don't see a tipa, it would suffer from that. You know what I mean? Should be, okay. So therefore he has to thank Hashem. That's why he has to bless, even for one drop of urine. Okay, beautiful. Okay, let's see Shulchan Aruch Dalet, and we're done with this chapter. Oh Hashem. Okay, we're going somewhere. We're going to Tzitzit after this. Okay. Make sure your Tzitzit is out so we can play with it a little bit. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Maybe we should bring some, like little Tzitzit, to play around with it, to do some demonstrations, When we start the Tzitzit, it's going to be fun. Okay, so it says, right? And shiur le'ashtin. I'm sorry, I'm not in the right place. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not in the right place. Dalet, right? Dalet, Shulchan Aruch Dalet. So it says, and shiur le'ashtin mayim. It says, there's no measure for urination. Ki afilu l'tipa, even one drop of urine, chayav levarach, you still have to bless, even for that one drop. Shemi satem hanekev milot tzia tipa, because even if the hole will close up and not bring out that drop, this would be he would suffer from that. So therefore, he has to thank Hashem. So this is the reason why he has to. Right? Okay, good, very good. Okay, so now we're gonna start Tzitzit. Let's just see what time it is. Yeah, we can do another 10 minutes, whatever. Yeah, we started late, so we can do another 10-15 minutes. Okay, so I just have to bring it up. Give me a second. Abraham, are you there, Abraham? My friend Abraham, I see he's tuned in.
Yeah, I'm here, Rabbi.
How are you?
Good, Baruch Hashem. What
What's
time
new?
you started?
What's new?
Same old, Baruch Hashem.
Haven't seen you for a long time.
Yeah, I know. I'm here. What time
Long
you
time no
start your
see.
lectures, your
I'm sorry.
classes? What time you start your classes?
8:30.
8:30. Okay. Every day or
Sunday to Thursday.
Sunday?
Yeah,
Sunday
come
to
in. We have a
Thursday.
lot of fun with this. We're having a good time with that.
Okay. Bezrat Hashem.
Being in person is better. It's even better.
Right.
Okay,
Thank
but
you.
anyway, Zoom is also good. It's good to zoom in.
Yes, yes.
Doesn't hurt to zoom in.
Take Yosef on this one.
Oh, okay. Does it scare you? Does it look scary? Okay. Okay. I don't. I'm not surprised if it scares you. Just give me a second. Okay, we're starting to see. We finished all this stuff. Okay. So we'll start with the tour. Okay, so the tour says like this. Hilchot Tzitzit, right? Umiyad achar netilat yadav. Oh, look what it says, right? It's a connection, right? He connects it right away. Once you wash your hands, you see where it is, by the way, tour? Itatet betzitzit. You got to put on your tzitzit. Me'omed, right? So you got to do it when you're standing. Oh, atifato. How do you do it? What's the program? Pershu Geonim. The Geonim explain. Katifat Ishmaelim. Oh, you got to do like the Ishmaelim, like the Arabs. Right? Yeah, those guys who attack us in Israel. Shehi atifat gemura. Right? What does that mean? You got to do like a real wrap. You got to wrap it. You can do the wrap, you know? You got to wrap yourself. Balai tur, right? Katab. So it says the Balai tur, which is one of the Rishonim. The lo bainan kule hai. So Balai tur says you don't have to do this Ishmael thing, you know? This Arab thing. You don't need that. It's not necessary. Like a derech bnei adam. So just like a regular person, you know, covers himself. You have to cover yourself with the tzitzit. You don't need this Arab business. That's what he says, right?
What does that mean, Rabbi?
I'm sorry?
What does that mean?
What, the Arab?
That means the wrapping. Oh, that.
All that stuff?
Yeah, not necessary.
That's the Arab, right? He says it's not necessary, right? Sometimes they cover their head, sometimes they don't cover their head, just like with clothing, you know? It's the same thing. Sometimes you have your hoodie on, sometimes your hoodie is not on, right? Same thing, right? Same idea. לפעמים בגלוי ראש בדרך עטיפה רחבה לקומת האיש ומחזיר בית ציציות לפניו ובית ציציות לאחריו. So he says what you do is you put two tzitzit in front of you and two tzitzit in the back, right? That's the way it's got to be arranged symmetrically, right? Okay. ובית ציציות לאחריו ושיהיה מסובב במצוות. Why? Because we want that he should be surrounded with mitzvot, you know? So each corner has one tzitzit. So that's really good, right? You're surrounded. So also, right, you gotta cover your head, right? Put a kippah on. That's what he's saying, right? I'm sorry.
Sorry, does that mean that if you don't have a keeper, your tzitzit covers it? It's doing the job?
What he's saying is that, I mean, in this particular case, you know what he's trying to say? Like when you put your tzitzit, make sure your head is covered too. In other words, either with a tzitzit, you should cover it, or with a kippah. Right? Something. So what's the reason why? When you bless, your head should be covered. You know, when you bless, so your head should be covered there. That's the idea. Don't bless with an open head, right? With an uncovered head. That's what he's saying, right?
If you don't have a keeper, though, Rabbi.
So do it with a tzitzit, cover with a talit, right? Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Did you say the bracha after putting it on?
Oh.
When does it count as a?
Okay, let's see how the language is, right? So right, he's not really talking about that sequence right here, you know. What he's saying is you have to bless, basically, right? But you know, I mean, the truth is that you should bless before you put it on. You know, but your head should be covered. So, in other words, if you don't have a cover on your head, you don't have a kippah, so put a part of a tzitzit on your head and then bless. You know, that would be, you know what I mean? Part of the talit on your head. And then put it on your whole body after you bless. That would be the logical way to do it, right? If you don't have a kippah.
Like a cloak.
Yeah. So what do you bless? Right? Which is what we do in the talit gadol, right? We do in the big talit. Right? When it comes to the small talit, we do al mitzvah tzitzit, but he doesn't say that here yet. We might see that later on, right? That whole thing. We're going to see it. So why is it called tzitzit? Because of the fringes, right? The strings that are separating from there. Like it says, it says in the pasuk that he took me with the strings of my head, right, which is the hair. Okay, so therefore he says what you have to do is, make sure that the fringes are separated, not entangled, right? You don't want to put them on when they're entangled. So therefore, the custom is that before they put on the tzitzit, they first separate them. They shouldn't be entangled. But if they're already not tangled, then you don't really need to do that, obviously, right? It's already separated. Sometimes they get entangled. So you should have the kavanah, right? What's the kavanah? According to this, the bitur, right? The Kadosh Baruch Hu commanded us to put on the tzitzit to remember all the mitzvot, right? To do them. So as we said, right? Before you put it on, look in the tzitzit, right? Check it out. I'm sure everything is kosher there. The knots are there, right? It didn't get disassembled. You know what I mean? It didn't come apart. Everything should be nice and right, complete. Because why? If one of them got messed up, it got opened up, right? And now it's not in the proper form. But it's going to be a blessing in vain because your tzitzit is not kosher. You know what I mean? You got a problem there. So it says if he wants to put the tzitzit right away when he gets up, because he doesn't want to go 4 amot without tzitzit, right? He's one of those chasidim, right? Or let's say he has tzitzit in his cloak, right? As we said, and this is right in his shirt, whatever it is, right? 4-cornered shirt he has. He can put it on right away, so there he's not going to bless yet, right? If he's doing it this way. He's putting it on like very early, like when he gets up right away. Right? And then when he washes his hands, then touch your tzitzit, and then you bless. You can do it this way also.
Touch.
Right, like feel it, like touch it, grope it. Why you have to do this? Because since you didn't put it on before, since you didn't bless before when you put it on, so you gotta feel it, like in other words, you gotta think about it. So that makes you think about it, to concentrate on it.
Yeah.
So when you're touching it, groping it, that makes you think. So then when you bless, like you know what you're blessing on, whatever, you're concentrated on that.
You're supposed to pick it up, look at it, think about the mitzvot, and then bless.
Yeah, according to what we're saying here, right? We'll see what the halacha is, but according to this, right, this is the sequence here. Okay, so miyad belo beracha v'shotor yadav meshmesh b'tzitzit, yivarech litatef b'tzitzit. He's going to bless litatef b'tzitzit, or im yitatef achar kach b'talit acheret. So if he's going to put another talit afterwards, right? In other words, a big talit, whatever. Yivarech alea v'chaven liftor. So bless on this one, and also have in mind, bless on the second one, and have in mind also to fulfill the obligation of the first one as well. So that's what we do, by the way, right? The custom is like this, that we don't bless on talit katan because we're going to put talit gadol. So we rely on talit gadol, and the kavanah is going to be also on talit katan. Goes back to talit katan. That's exactly what he's saying. If he has several clothing, right, that he's wearing, right, and they all have 4 corners. By the way, today we don't have stuff like that. It's very rare by us. That's why we have the tzitzit, we buy specially, because we don't have 4-corner garments. Right? So in other words, if you have several of them that are 4-cornered, all of them are liable to have tzitzit on their own, right? It's not like one size fits all. You know what I mean? Like one fulfills everybody. No, each one has to have its own tzitzit.
Not the outmost one.
No, each one needs it, right? Every 4-corner garment needs a tzitzit. That's the rule. If you're wearing it. If you're not wearing it, I don't care. Do what you want. Right? If it's in your closet, it doesn't need tzitzit. You know what I mean? Only when you put it on.
Rabbi, it has to be a certain size, right? And covering a certain.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the size. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Yeah.
Scarves, obviously, do not.
I'm sorry.
Regular, like scarves, 4-cornered scarves.
Oh no, that's not gonna do the trick. No, that's too small. Yeah, that's too small. It has to cover most of your body, the majority of your body. We're gonna get to that. Okay, so. So now, let's say he's putting on all these garments in one shot. So what he does is he blesses one time for all of them, and he fulfills he has in mind all these begadim. That's the best way to do it, right? If you're putting it on in one shot, in one time. But if he's going to do is like an interruption between them, it's not in one shot. Then you got to bless on each one. So if there's an interruption there, like downstairs, they always ask this question. Like when you go to Kiddush, to eat something, and you want to put the talit back on to go home, you have to bless again? And the answer is yes, because you made an interruption. You went to eat, right? The Kiddush. That's an interruption. So you have to bless again.
How long is it?
It's not a matter of the timing. It's a matter of like you did something else. You went and did something else. You did a different activity. So you got distracted from that. You lost your. You lost your concentration on that.
Even if you had the intention to put it back on.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that later on. This whole thing.
If it's within the 30 minutes frame and you still have your kavanah to put it back, you don't say bracha. If you took your kavanah concentration,
Somebody told you that?
Yeah, I learned it like this. If within 30 minutes, even you still have your mind on it, you don't have to say bracha. But
yeah, I think that this 30-minute rule that you heard from, I don't really think it's correct. But if you know what the source is, let me know, because I don't think it's correct.
Right? No, I'm just making sure. I don't know.
Okay, it's interesting. But anyway, yeah, if you find a source, let me know.
Yeah.
There's a mission board like that, you're saying?
I've heard it.
Okay, we'll see in the Shulchan Aruch. We'll check that. We'll check that in the Shulchan Aruch. So it says, right, in the Shulchan Aruch, I have the mission board there also. So we can check it.
No, I'm asking that.
Yeah, right. The truth is, I understand you. I've personally never heard this shita for the half hour, even though there is some logic to it. There is logic there. But I don't really think.
And like you said, you were right. You said if you take your mind off it.
I'll give you an example. Okay, let's say, for instance, you put one talit, right? And then you want to put another one later on. So in between, you went to the bank, right, to make a deposit, okay? And you came back in 5 minutes, boom. Like, you went like a rocket, right? You have to bless again because, that's an interruption. Even though it wasn't a half hour, you know what I mean? It has nothing to do with half hour. So, but it's interesting, you know what it is, Avraham? There's all kinds of rabbis, achronim, later authorities that have all kinds of ideas. Chidushim they make, it sounds like a chidush more, this idea. But okay, whatever, we'll see, we'll see how it goes. We're just going step by step, we'll go little by little. Baby steps. We're going baby steps. Okay. So it doesn't say this, right? This rabbi here, Balaitur, that this half hour, right? Doesn't say anything. Just says that he interrupted, he made an interruption. So here, right, it gives you an example, exactly what I told you, right? If you put one talit in the house, right, and then when you go to shul, you're going to put the other talit, right? Talit gadol. You have to bless on that, he says. So what does that mean? You can't rely on what you did before, because you made an interruption. What was the interruption? You walked in the street to go to shul. So that could be 5 minutes, but still, it's an interruption. So it says, let's go on with this 1 second. Right. So now, right, we have a different scenario, right? He took off his talit, right? And his intention was not to wear it again immediately, right? It says immediately, right? You have to bless when you come back and do it again, right? So the truth is, that now Abraham, this word immediately, miyad, right? So the truth is, some interpret that to mean a half hour. You know what I mean? But let's see if that comes out to be correct. Probably that's what he's relying on, because the word miyad, right, sometimes can mean a half hour. It's true, So okay, we'll see that. But it says if his intention, all right, was to wear it right away, right, immediately. What does that mean? For instance, he took it off to go to the bathroom. He says, there I have a doubt. I'm not really sure what the halacha is, he says. There's like logic to either side, different sides. Because there is to say, so since we learned the whole Torah regarding this from Tefillin, that's the source. So it says, what's the story with Tefillin? All the time that you're feeling it, the Tefillin, you're feeling it. You have to bless.
Again?
Right. So you know what that means? Now it explains it, right? Perush. What does that mean? Let's say the Tefillin went right off its place, right? It dropped down. So it's not in the right place anymore. Okay. And now you're like touching it to feel, if it's in the right place, and you're returning it to its place. Come on. So he says, you see from there, right? You see that what? By the way, this is the Shulchan Aruch, this whole thing, what I'm telling you. Right? The rule is that when the tefillin falls off its place and you're putting it back on, even though it was right away, you have to bless. Because it fell off. You know what I mean? You didn't take it off, it fell off. Like it drooped down, it slid down. You understand?
Rabbi, what about a case
Yeah.
where you just putting it on, you just said the bracha,
Right.
you tighten it,
Yeah.
you make one strap,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel that it's hurting you.
Right.
You
Too
wanna-
much pressure.
I want to fix it.
Right.
So
Too much blood pressure there. Go ahead.
I fix it, I have to bless again?
If it was in the right place, no. We're talking here that it fell off the place, I'll give you another example, right? Which also on the head. It's still on the head, right? Let's say it drooped down, right? Or just fell off. It's feeling fell. You have to bless again according to the Shulchan Aruch.
So just a little bit.
So
In the middle anymore?
I'm talking like fell down, let's say fell on the table, or just went out of its place. You know what I mean? The question is, what is out of its place? We have to discuss that also. But yeah, what are you saying, Abraham?
so if the tefillin sheliyah got misplaced, we have to say a bracha again, or no?
That's what he's saying over here, this rabbi. Okay, we're going to see if that's halakha, but right. But it seems like it is, in the Shulchan Aruch anyway. There may be some achronim that argue with that, Abraham. We have to check that, little by little, right? Baby steps, going slowly. So he says, but he says there it's different, with the tefillin. Why? Because it moved out of its place. This is the reason why you have to bless again. But the problem is, when it moved out, he wasn't cognizant of that. He wasn't aware of it. In other words, he didn't do it on purpose. It just slid down, So he wasn't aware that it was going off, and it went off, and therefore he has to bless again. He didn't know that it's not in the right place. But if he did it on purpose, he moved it. In order to bring it back right away, you don't have to bless. Right? So you see from, by the way, here, the language implies that the word miyad, right away, is not a half hour. Because we're talking here like really like immediately, that's the context over here. So half hour seems to be a little bit off, whatever. But we'll see. We'll get into that, little by little, it's a slow process. Okay, we're not learning a Kitzur book, it's like more, we're doing the whole thing, from A to Z. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
But does he mean that right away after making the blessing, or right away after you notice that it's out of place?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he noticed it's drooped out, dropped down or something. It happens all the time. This thing, it's very common. We don't even realize sometimes. We don't even realize.
Right. With the head, it's so constant. Right.
Yeah. It kind of happens all the time. But it has to be like totally out of its place. In other words, it's not kosher there. That's what he means to say. If you would put it there, it's not kosher. You didn't fulfill your obligation.
So the Torah is saying,
Yeah.
if you notice right away after it fell, and you fix it, you don't need to bless.
Yeah, this is not the tour, right? This is the Balai tour. I'm sorry, the Balai tour. Sounds like the tour, but it's a different guy.
Oh,
Balai tour.
what we're reading right now is not the Torah.
No, it's not the tour. It's the Itur. Yeah, close, but no cigar. Okay, one of the Rishonim, right? Balai tour. Okay, so this is brought down to Bet Yosef, right? We said this already. So then he says, right? So now it brings another thing, right? Which is, let's say he sleeps with the tzitzit at night. Right? A lot of people do that today, right? They sleep with tzitzit. As we said, right? If you're married, you shouldn't do that, with your wife. Not proper. But if you're alone, you're a bachelor or whatever, divorced, whatever. So you should. Why not? What else are you gonna do? You're not obligated, but it's proper to do it this way. It's good idea. Protection. You don't have to bless. That's very interesting, right? One second. Right. So it says if he sleeps at night with the talit, you don't have to bless in the morning. By the way, we don't paskin like this because according to Rambam, the mitzvah of tzitzit at night doesn't exist. So we'd have to bless in the morning. Yeah. So we'll see that also. We'll check that out. But according to this shita, that's the way it is. Okay, very interesting. I'm sorry. Wait a second. Wait a second. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know what I did? I thought this was a bit Yosef. This was the tour we were reading. But anyway, he quoted the Itur. That's what it was, right?
Itur?
Yeah, the Itur. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, so the tour.
Quoted the
Quoted
Itur,
the
right?
Itur.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Very interesting. Nice
Very
nice piece over there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to Bet Yosef, right? Let's see how much time we got. Okay, next time is Hashem. We're pretty much past our way past our limit because I have another chavruta, 'cause another one on deck. He's on deck. Okay, so nice to have you guys tonight, everybody. Laila Tov, Chazak Baruch. We'll see you next week, Sunday, B'ezrat Hashem. Sunday or Thursday, right? That's the way it is. It's scheduled. Okay, God bless.
Thank
Shabbat
you.
Shalom.
Thank you.
All the best.
Shabbat
Okay, beautiful.
Thank you, Rabbi.
We had 4 people on Zoom here, so.
Wow. Was Nisimon?
No, I think he was busy tonight.